La. All right. Okay, we're gonna say that we're live on 2 platforms, TikTok and still haven't figured out Twitch. Okay. What else are we doing here? We're gonna get some files up. Ba, 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 da, 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 da. Do, 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 do. 652. Want to watch it? Me. Okay, now what are we doing? Let's talk about our school community. That we haven't been allowing in. Developer. $84 members. Da, da, da. Okay, we are live. Trying to get settled here, but gonna try and get our app up and running. Bear with me for a second. I'm trying to just get sorted out. I was late today. Late, because I had a whole bunch of stuff going on this morning, so my schedule's a little bit off track. So bear with me. Okay, what's the app are we working on again? All right, yes. Budgeting app. Boo, boo, boo. Where are we? Yeah, projects. Affordly. All right, so let's talk about my app. Okay, Affordly, AFFORDLY.app. Do, do. Ba, ba, ba. It'd be cool if I got some notification when people join. Okay. So we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be talking about so we're going to be talking about my app, Track Your Money. And I want to pull up the actual app itself because we got a little bit of work to do on the actual app itself. And last week we actually did last week we got the iOS and the Android sort of platform kind of somewhat built out. This week here, we're going to try to see if we could spend some time actually getting it properly ready for the store. So that's what we're going to be working on. And I got to pull up a couple more things here. So, oh, actually, I want to show this here. That's fine. All right. So with that, let's get started. Go send to you TikTok. What is this? 7 views. Wait, hang on. You know what? I just noticed that the count on TikTok is a little bit weird. Okay, so if you're new here and you don't know who I am, never seen me before, we're going to be talking about building a iOS app. We're going to talk about building a Android app and publishing it to the App Store. We're going to be using Cloudflare in order to kind of get that going. So Cloudflare is my favorite go-to platform of all platforms. It is by far the most underrated sort of platform on the internet, period. Okay, it's just how it is. Okay, now if you know something about this stuff, you're probably going to tell me about Vercel. You're probably going to tell me about Lovable or Bolt. These are all gold. You're probably even going to tell me about Anti-Gravity, which is the new kid on the block. V-I-R-V-I-T-Y, Anti-Gravity, which is Google's new browser. And how you could look, well, I mean, I'm kind of mixing stuff here, but there's hosting and then there's the tools, okay? Cloudflare is by far the most underrated platform, period, bar none. I don't care who you are or what you say, is by far the best. In fact, on my YouTube channel, by the way, do you use Jet Compose? So I don't use Jet Compose. I've used Jet Compose in the past, but I don't. I'm actually using Expo. Answer your question, Mr. Vaughn. Thanks for asking the question. Expo is sort of my go-to. Why am I using Expo? So let's talk about that and what's going on. So the landscape is this. As you know Jet Compose, so you obviously know about platforms and stuff like that. Jet Compose is great. It's fine. It's okay. Here's a problem that I have with it. It's kind of centered around the Android ecosystem, right? So it knows about iOS. Obviously, it's designed so you can do multi-platform or whatever. But the tooling is sort of like Android based. And the reality is, if you're in North America, iOS just wins. Okay, they control like 60, maybe 70% of the market. So with that, I tend to focus on iOS, build for Android, if that makes sense. And for me, the goal is how can you develop the speed and what was the fastest way that you could build an app and publish it to the App Store without having to go through all of the complexities around, sign-in certificates and configuration and just a whole bunch of stuff that has to be developed all together. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to try to surf, cut through the noise to figure out how to do it in the fastest way. So here, what you're looking at is an iOS app, okay? But it's not a native app. It's a web app. I want to be clear. It's literally a web page. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to my actual browser. I'm going to paste here, oops, m dot affordly dot thing. What about Flutter? Flutter is great. Flutter is my favorite of all time, period. But they got a problem. The problem is the ecosystem in terms of like getting the app up to the cloud is problematic. In other words, you can write a really good Flutter app, which is like, so let me back up a little bit. I'm a big fan of Flutter for one reason. Compiling of languages. Like any language that compiles, by far, you're going to get way better sort of like everything. Okay, whether better development experience, performance, the whole 9 yards. However, that being said, though, the Flutter story just never actually developed properly enough to be able to have a developer have a seamless experience. So you might get a really good development experience, but then you still have to go through the effort of like signing your app and getting certificates and publishing it to the App Store and all of that type of stuff. And frankly, I don't want to mess with that. Okay. So I've taken, as a result of that, I've taken a step back and I decided that I'm going to use a lesser technology, if you will, right? Expo, which is basically React Native. I hate React. I want to be clear with this. I do not like React at all. But Expo 100% has the best platform for publishing apps to the App Store. And it'll give me the speed to be able to iterate. In other words, if there's bugs and issues and problems, I can do it like that. So I appreciate the question, Vaughn. That's a really good question. But yeah, this is the reason why I've kind of settled back on Expo. So for me now, the question is, well, how do I do this in a way that's scalable? All right. And I'm going to answer that question. And this is where Cloudflare kind of comes in. So what I've been doing, I'm going to take out my pen here. I'm going to draw a couple of things here just because I like drawing. But this is what I've been doing. This has been my go-to way of building apps on the native platform. So I'll make my pen a little bit bigger so everybody could see it. So essentially what I've been doing is I've been building web apps. Web app, A-P-P, okay? So I build a web app, I test it, I run it. It looks like a native app. It has all the icons below. It has, you know, the side navigation menu, right? Whatever the app does, it looks like a native app. And then what I do is I basically just do an expo shell, E-X-P-O shell, H-E-L-L, okay? And I basically just take that web app and inject it into it. And then from there, I'd replace native elements. So I will replace the bottom bar. Once I know that my app is good and it's stable, I'll replace the bottom bar with, you know, an expo native. I'll replace the sidebar, and all the contents in the middle is still a web app. Okay. Now there's a little bit of complexity that you have to kind of work around to make this happen. But what I've done is I've spent a bunch of time on my GitHub refactoring and making that possible. So just to give you an idea, this app here, as I showed it to you, is a web app. Actually, let me go to the web because I wanted to show you that. So if I go to see here, full web app. Okay, it's literally, see how broad it is. Like it's kind of trying to adjust to the desktop screen. Has sort of this screen here that looks kind of, you know, somewhat mobile friendly, and this one here that kind of spreads out like this. The point is that it's a web application. Now, what I've done is taken that, and for testing purposes, I basically just installed it as a web, install it to here as a PWA, right, progressive web app. So it looks native. It looks like it's native, but it's not, right? This is really just a thing. So this is for me for testing purposes. That's what I did here. It's so that I can test the app and try to figure out where the bugs are, where the problems are, and get some early people access to it while I kind of develop and while I try to improve upon the process. So here I got a PWA. I sent this out like this. So if you go to my actual website here, so this is the website for the app itself. When you click on start for free, it basically sends you to a video that me just walking through how to use the app and how to get it installed on your phone, because most people don't know how to install a PWA. But that's because I'm in beta. While I'm doing that, I've now built out a shell, and I'll show you what that looks like so you can see the difference and compare it. So I now have a, let me see, did I put it in here? Oh, you know what? I gotta share my screen. Let me do that. Where's my phone? Damn it. My phone is somewhere wrong. Okay, hang on a second. We got to do this way. We're going to do it. Actually, let's do it this way. Recently opened. There we go. No, can't go there. What about this one? Nope. Product. Okay, I got to run it first. Hang on. Bear with me for a second. I got to run it. But what I'm going to show you is a fully native app that looks almost identical to it, except that it has sort of a shell around it now. So let me just pull that up and then we'll just go from there. So here, this is, like I said, web app. And let's just say, can you run my mobile app? Okay, I'm too lazy to even type the command in. But this, in my opinion, gives you best of both worlds. And in fact, most browsers are doing this. So for example, if you're on Instagram literally does this. It's basically a web app inside of a native shell, right? Like pretty much any apps, Facebook, any of these apps that you're looking at, they're all kind of built on the same principle for the most part, right? So let's go with I for iOS. There we go. So here, so now, and I'll compare the difference so you could see how close they are. So let me just, let me pull this up and let me do this. And then I'm going to try to get it in looking like a desktop. So I'm going to put this out this way, make this like this. There we go. Okay. And okay. So here, this is a 100% the web version. Okay. Looks kind of like a mobile, right? Again, web application. And, oh, you did Cordova in the past, eh? Interesting. Yeah, Cordova is, I mean, they're the original, people with this concept, 100%. Shout out to all the OGs. If you know Cordova, is because you're an OG in the business. That's 100% for sure. Okay, so let me show you now the comparison between my native app, what I'm calling the native app, and my web app. So here is the difference. First of all, you got the footer or the tab at the bottom. Okay, if you look at this one here, the tab is at the bottom is a little bit different. See that plus sign is centered in the middle. Okay, so that's number one. This one here, I'm going to remove that plus sign. It's just there because it was there. But when I click on this plus sign, now I have a nice, smooth, like animated menu up at the side. Versus if I click here, it just kind of jumps to whatever activity it is. So, okay, so that's one difference right off the top. Oops, I can't get my close button there. There we go. Okay, so that's one. Second thing is the overview, the transaction tab, if I click on it, looks pretty much identical, the same, except what you'll notice is the header is different. So you see here, it says transaction, and if you come across here and you click on that, see here, the header looks a little bit different. Now, mind you, it's getting cut off at the top there, right? Reoccurring tab. So what I'm doing is I basically just have a header and a footer, but the inside is just a web app. And if it doesn't slide around and move around or whatever, there's no user that could tell the difference. I repeat, there's not a single user that will be able to tell the difference between the two. And so that's what we're doing, all right? So this allows me to build out a proper application, keep shipping code really, really fast to just iterate at scale, because frankly, the AIs are really, really good at React Native, at React. And then see here, I got the side navigation, right? Fully native side navigation. However, those inside pages are just web pages embedded in sort of a frame. But like I said, there's not a single user that'll be able to tell you the difference between whatever this app is and a regular app. And that's what you want to do, right? Now, that being said, though, if I come here and I click on, where is it? Settings, right? This is native. This is native to the platform. Why? Because you could just get better experience in just, being able to flick the little switches and the dark mode. See, for example, I got dark mode. I could go to forest green. I could go to ocean. I could go to midnight black, right? I'm able to sort of like get that UI experience really fast, really with a little bit of speed and feedback with from a setting standpoint, right? And like I said, there's nobody that'll tell the difference. And if somebody complains about this, they got a lot of problems in their life. Seriously. right? So that's how you want to be thinking about this entire process. Now, with that, you can go really, really fast, okay? So just so you know, this entire app that I just showed you, every single thing I'm showing you right now, I've been able to vibe code it in 4 days from start to finish, because I was able to iterate super, super fast on the front end, get the web application, iterate fast, fix the bugs by using it, testing it on my mobile. And then only when I got that proper, then I wrapped the shell around it, and then I basically started pushing it into the App Store. Does this theme apply? Does this theme apply on the web content page? And that's sort of what I mean by that. So does the theme apply on the web content page? You mean the design? Oh, the design. You're talking about the Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Got you. I know exactly what your question is. You're talking about if this here, dark mode, and I go to forest screen, for example, if the page applies. So that's a very good question, a very good observation. So the answer right now is no, but it will. Okay, because all that translates to is I'm just going to pass a query string to the web page, and the web page will know, oh, I'm in dark mode, so it's going to switch to dark mode. I just haven't done the work to do that as yet. But just to make sure you understand what I mean, see, if this is the URL, it's just going to pass an extra query string. It's going to say dark mode, right, equals true. And then maybe color, you can't see that too well, but color equals light, right? Like something like that. Like that's what's going to happen. So very, very good question. That's literally how you would solve that problem, right? The only caveat here, there's always pros and cons to every single thing, okay? The only caveat here is that you do have to kind of pass around security tokens, okay? And what do I mean by that? What's going to happen is let me go back to my drawing for a second. So what's going to happen is you have your web app, like I said, on the left-hand side here, and you have your shell on the right-hand side. So now imagine your app is embedded in this, middle section, okay? So let me just get another color so I can draw a little bit better here. Okay, so let's just imagine for a second that we got our web app is embedded in the shell, okay? When you get to the login page, the login is going to happen on the main application. So now you have to kind of do this sort of security dance by sending tokens to the internal application. And you don't want to do that because now if you embed the token in the query string, then loggers can log the token and you can have some security problems there, right? So you have to kind of do this back, how I would describe it as a back-end dance. And the simplest way, without going into too much security stuff here, what you have to do is basically you get a token, KEN, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to store that token on a server. Okay, you're going to store that token there, and then you're going to get a code. You're going to get a code, and you're going to send it back to the application. You're going to send it to the web application. Tell the web application, hey, use this code to go fetch a token. The token will live for just a one-time use, and then the web page will have its own token. So you never actually pass any security code in the query string, which is a big no-no. You don't want to do that because login tools will log that information. All right. Let me see. You could apply the token in the header so it remains after login. Yes, cookie. But like I said, the process here is about how do you actually get that token. That's the key word. Okay, because you don't want to pass that token in the URL browser, right? That's the problem. So you want to have a sort of a back channel way to do it, and that token has to be extremely short-lived, right? So in other words, you log in, and the minute you log in, you save that token on the back end, you get a code for that token, and then you have your web app basically get that token, and then the minute it gets that token, save it locally, and then that's it. It is a one-time use, right? So that's how you would address that problem. But fantastic. Vaughn, you must be a developer or something. There's no question. If you've done Cordova, there's no question you are a developer. So I'm almost certain about that. But thanks for the question, though. I appreciate the interaction. And we got 36 people inside of here, guys. If you don't mind just pressing the heart button, and give me a like or a thumbs up or however that basically works on TikTok. I'm learning about TikTok and I'm trying to think. So hey, while I got you guys here and I got some eyes on thing, if you guys are interested in learning more about all this stuff, I got a free community, 100% free. I got 86 members inside of there. Join my community and I will share you. I got in here. I got tutorials, classroom. I'm teaching you not just how to build an app, but also how to like publish and distribute. Because right now the problem is not building. Everybody knows how to build, more or less. Like there's everybody knows how to build, but not everybody know how to distribute. Okay, so just to give you a little bit context about me, I have a startup. I got a couple startups, but one of my startups is SnapSuite. SNAP. So one of my startup is Snaps. Sorry, one of my startup is SnapSuite, and it's a app for developers, for contractors. Sorry, the project management, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I figured you were a developer before. And then one of my other app is it's called Lead Score. Let me pull that up as well too. Okay, Snapsuite's been around for a while. We've had quite a few customers on it. We made, like our first customer, we made over $500,000 over it, and we started growing from there. And then, honestly, COVID came and a lot of things changed, and so now I'm kind of rebuilding the entire system. And LEAD lead score.ai, and then get lead score. I forgot this one. It's get lead score.ai. Okay, and this one here is my platform to basically help you to automate the process of finding leads and build and getting out leads for your app. So those are the two things that I have, but I'm not here to show you that or sell that. That's not what we're talking about today. I just want you guys to know who I am. But I'm going to drop the link in the chat, and I'll keep doing this every now and again for new people that are kind of joining. Dwayne.me/school. Like I said, free community. Join the community, and we talk about vibe coding. We talk about Cloudflare. Okay, all the things about Cloudflare. So Cloudflare, like I said, is by far my best, and it's no question about it. Is by far the best platform out there. And if you're curious and you want to know more about Cloudflare, let me just do one more last plug here, I promise, and then we're going to get into some coding. But on my channel, I have a video here about Cloudflare. Where is it? Here. Cloudflare insanely cheap. Okay, because I show you what you can get for $5 a month, and I actually compare. See here, I'm comparing Lovable, Replit, Vercel, Bolt, Figma, Gemini, Google Stitch, right? Like we talk about Vercel, Firebase, with database backends like Torso, Superbase, Pinecone, AWS, the big guys, right? AWS, Azure, etc. And I show you exactly how I'm actually building out my infrastructure, why I'm using Cloudflare, why Cloudflare is the best platform to develop on, and some of the value that you can get from Cloudflare altogether. So I show you a lot of stuff in this in things. So like I said, join my community if you haven't already, or if you're new and you've never seen me before. Free community. I just dropped the link in the chat, and please like the channel. That would be great. And yeah, so my goal is I have one goal right now, and that's if I can, I want to be able to teach 1,000 members how to vibe code production apps and teach you how to make money. And in here, I have a 7-day challenge course to teach you go from like 0 all the way to like 100% building an app and trying to ship it. That's the mission. That's the goal. So that's fantastic. Hey, we got 45 members in here. So like I said, keep tapping the heart screen, see if we could boost our rankings on the TikTok thingy. Okay, so what else we want to talk about? So if you guys got questions for me, drop it in the chat, by the way. And so are you, Vaughn? I'm actually curious. Are you a Jetpack Compose developer? Are you an Android developer? Is that how come you know more about the Compose world? Just curious. And then while we're waiting for his answer, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about So we're going to talk about distribution and what it means to get your app distributed. So I will share my experience. Um, this is so okay. Let me just back up and just be real transparent with you guys here. Okay, all of my apps that I normally build are enterprise type apps. Okay, I don't normally do consumer type apps. Right. The reason why I don't normally do consumer type is because they're just a different business model and they're really hard to scale. And you have to really come up with a good distribution strategy to get it right. And people just complain about a whole bunch of stuff and they want it for free, right? It's like all of the negatives that comes with it. Unless you're like Facebook or TikTok or one of these platforms where you just got a lot of money to just kind of pour into building a proper app. This is just one of the problems that you're going to run into. So for me, we have to kind of rethink how or is it that if we're going to build an app and let's be real here, the goal is to make money. Like, what is it that we're going to do in order to kind of get it right? Okay, so I'm going to use this example, this app that I'm building out for my own self. By the way, I'm not building this for anybody else but myself. I just want to be clear with this. I literally built this app for me. Okay, it just so happened that it was a really good tool for me to teach, use it as a teaching mechanism for other people. And I figured it, well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well just try to, actually publish it in the App Store and let it try to thrive a little bit. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about this a little bit. So I'm going to do this in two parts. Part one is we're going to do the marketing side of things. We're going to do a little bit of marketing. We're going to talk about like the marketing side of the business. And then part two is we're going to talk a little bit more about the technical side of things. But do ask your questions. Feel free to drop a comment, ask a question inside of the thing, and then we're gonna go from there. So Vaughn is responding here. So let me see what you got. So I started developing native 7 years ago, Java, Kotlin, Flutter, and now React Native and K. Oh, I don't know the last one. KMP. Oh, that's a new one for me. What is that? What am I? Is that Kotlin? Is that KMP? What was that? Oh, right, Kotlin multi-platform. Okay. Sorry. Yes. Okay, got it. Yes. Okay. How do you like KMP, by the way? I'm kind of curious about that because yeah, I don't have any experience with Kotlin multi-platform, and like I said, the reason why I kind of just kept it out of my arsenal is because um, like everybody that's been trying to do this haven't really succeeded. You see, they're basically trying to do the same thing as web. The real question for me is, can you do a Kotlin multi-platform, KMP, and do you have a proper build story on the back end, right? Because, like I said, nothing really compares right now to the Expo ecosystem. I don't know, or at least to my knowledge, right? Like, look at this, right? I could come in here, I could click on my builds, I could see all of my builds, and I could publish straight to the App Store with one line, right? I don't know anybody else that's doing that, right? Now, you could do Flutter, Flutter Flow, and they have something similar, but now you're forced to kind of use their ecosystem, right? And I've heard horror stories about this. Like, it's just not a good platform. And the truth is, like, their deployment story is kind of weak, right? So that's the thing. And for me, the one thing that I don't want to do is don't want to be held up by Apple and their ridiculous policies around, when they should approve my app based on the change. If I got a bug for a customer, like I want to get that out to a customer as soon as possible, right? So that's the reason why it's like I'm like, Expo just has the better story. So Flutter Flow is limited. Yes, lots of paywalls. Expo is much, much better. Yes, 100% agree with that statement. 100%, right? So yeah, they've won the game. So you know what? It's one of those things. When you're in Rome, do as the Romans do. And yeah, we're doing what the Romans do because we just want to ship apps. All right. So let's talk about a little bit of distribution and let's talk about how do you get traction with your app. So I think to date, like I said, this app. I'm going to kind of whiteboard a little bit. Let's just do a little bit of whiteboarding just so we could put the numbers on. Because what I really want to talk about is how fast can you build an app and try to make money from it. Okay, realistically speaking, with no budget. Okay, that's the caveat here. You can always do any one of these stuff if you have just like money solves a lot of problems. Let's just be real about it. Okay, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about How do we build an app, scale it, distribute it, get it in the right audience within a really short space of time, and go from there. So it's very simple. Let's just talk about the actual thing. Very important. How do you actually make money from it? Yes, 100% fun, 100%. So let's just talk about what I've done so far, and then we'll talk about the mission. So far, I've done. I'm going to call it 5 days. It's really 4 days, but if I add it up, it's about 5 days of development. development. Okay. I took 3 days and I solidly work on it on the app. Okay. And then what I did was after the third day, I kind of broke off a little bit, and I've only been developing on these live calls every Friday at 1 p.m. 1 to 3 p.m. Okay, but if you total up the time, 8 hours a day kind of deal, typical work week, I basically did about a week's worth of work on this app. All right. Question here. I can join your community. 100% you could join my community. Generally speaking, I would say link in the bio, but I'm going to drop it in here for you. So, let me just put it here so I can just copy and paste it next time pretty fast. 1 second. I'm going to drop the link here. https://dwayne.me/skol. 100% free. Join the community. Share what you're sharing. And just so you guys know, what is my aim with the community and what the mission is with the community. The community is for developers, builders, anybody that likes to just develop things. Okay. But more importantly, I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years now. 20 years. I know I don't look that old. In fact, I look like I'm like 10. All right. But I've been around the block, and the hardest thing that I've had to do was learn how to actually sell my app. Okay. And like I said, for the news people that's on the call, my first app, it was just purely by accident because I started from web development days. In fact, I started way back before that, but it's like web development was my core. And we built a whole bunch of websites. At one point, I had a salesperson that was doing cold calling for me. This is like way back in like 2012 year or whatever. And she was just booking calls left, right, and center for me. And to the point where it's like, we got too many calls. I was like, I can't handle it. And then by accident, this is purely by accident, one day, she called me and she's like, hey, there's this company that wants to see if you can take his Excel spreadsheet and build an app from it. And I was like, oh, what is this company? So I went and met them, and they were a garage door company. For those who live in North America, there's a garage door, right? And the garage door, they just repair them because they break all the time. And so they had an Excel spreadsheet that they were keeping their customers in. But get this, the Excel spreadsheet that they were using they had this for 13 years. These people had an Excel spreadsheet running their business for 13 years. And I looked at it, I was like, guys, you got to get off of this spreadsheet right away. You have to get off this spreadsheet. And so finally, I made them a sales pitch. We made a sale to them. We sold the product for $10,000 to build this app for them. At the time, it was a lot of money for me. And we sold them this app for $10,000. And once we built the first version, they kept coming back over and over and over. That $10,000 turned into a $500,000 solution. Okay. But here's the thing that happened. I was really proud of that. We made quite a bit of money from it and stuff. The problem is that we ended up having that one customer be our client for way too long. Just way too long. And the truth is, I never learned how to sell. Right? Because we have a customer is paying me decent and whatever. And so I just never learned how to sell until we lost that customer. And then I was like, whoa, okay, what do I do here? Right? Got no money, running out of money, struggling, trying to figure out what's my next way of how do I sell? Because we had a salesperson before, I didn't have a salesperson afterwards, and that was my biggest problem. So I tell you guys this with all seriousness. It's I'm a developer. That's what I do on the back end. But on my day-to-day, it's not about development. It's just about the business side of it. How do you actually transform the product to market? So like I said, that's what we're talking about here. So I'm in, so like I said, in 5 days, I built the app. So I'm just going to draw a rude, crude app here just to basically just talk. And again, I'm just basically sharing you guys what I did so far and how I'm thinking about the application process, okay? So in 5 days, we built a rough prototype app. And I won't go into the difference between the native and thing. We talked about that before, but it wasn't a native application. It was just a PWA, or a progressive web app. Also joined and waiting list approval. You're the man, Vaughn. Appreciate it very much. And like I said, in the community, when you join the community, you watch the initial video. Okay, there's a link there that shows you exactly what to do. Feel free to book a call with me. We could chat. We could talk about what you guys are doing, and then we could go from there. But for the most part, like I said, every single thing in there. You know, share what you're building on, share what you're having challenges on, ask questions. That's the whole goal of the community. So I appreciate you, Vaughn. Wow, we got 61 people inside it. That's in wait, hang on. I don't know which number. No. New followers, 6. Total viewers. How many people are watching right now? Real-time viewer count. Okay, 3. Okay, fair enough. I'm missing. I don't know the TikTok thing. But anyway, I appreciate all of you people that are just listening inside of here and watching. And I got 57 hard, which is awesome. So let's continue. So I have 50. So 5 days to build the actual app. Now, once I actually build the app, what did I do? The first thing I did was I tried to get some beta users. Okay, we're not trying to sell this mass market right now. BETA, can't spell, BETA, right? And what are beta users? Very simple, friends and family. Okay, nothing too complex. Not everybody, just friends and family. Okay, anybody that will test it. So let's call it friends. FRENDS. Okay, and all I'm really doing is just to get some. It's like, hey, can you download my app? Try it for free. Use it. See if there's any problems. Give me some feedback so that I could basically jump on a call with you. Okay, I'm gonna put my phone here. All right, old-fashioned phone. So I could jump on a call. Okay, and what am I trying to do at this particular point? I'm really just trying to get feedback. Okay, that's what I'm interested in. I care about the feedback. I don't care about trying to sell you any single thing. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want your feedback. Oops, pen. Sorry. EDBACK. Okay, that's what I want. Give me your feedback. Why do I want your feedback? Well, obviously, I'm trying to get the bugs out of the app, right? I need users in order to get the bugs out of the app. 1 second. Okay, now, once I get the bugs out of the app, then at least I know that I have a shippable, half-decent product. Now, like I said, I did this while I was doing a PWA. Okay, so my first set of users for this app, week 1, was like 10 users. Okay, now I just happened to have a community, so a couple people joined from there. I made one post on TikTok, right? So I wasn't trying to just get friends, and the reason why is because I want to see, is there a market for this app? And this is the thing that most people do not pay attention to. Okay, they think, oh, I'm just going to build an app and everybody's going to download it and buy it. Well, you actually don't even know what the problem you're solving. And even if you do know the problem that you're solving, you don't know how to properly solve it. Okay, so the next thing that I did was I did a couple of TikTok posts. TIKT, okay, right? I did a couple of TikTok posts and Instagram posts, right? Social media posts, if you will. And that's how I got my first 10 customers or users on the app. Okay, and like I said, it's really just for feedback. And if you look here, excuse me, see send feedback. I got a couple of people that use this and just asked some questions because they had questions about the app in particular. All right, and that's the important part, right? You have to give them a super easy way for them to just basically just casually send in feedback whenever they have it, so that they can so that you can improve on the overall app. Okay, I'm getting over a cold, so I'm going to try to eat a Halls here, so hopefully you guys could know, like, my voice is clear. So yeah, so that's basically what I did. Now, once you get that feedback and you've ironed out the bugs, right? So, you know, this bugs, CUGS, right? This might take you a week or two, depending on your speed and availability and all that type of stuff. Good. Now that we have that out of the way, the next thing that we want to do is try to see if we could try to get this to a broader market to figure out if there's any problems. The question is how? How do you do this without any money or with limited budget? Right? Like, what is the plan and what's the mission and goal? And the real value here and the underrated value, this is the thing that took me such a long time to kind of figure out, is you got to talk to people. Okay? Talk to people. T-A-L-K, talk people. P-O-P-L-E. Right? The question is, where do you find these people? And the number one place where you find these people is, I'm going to use an old term here, forums. Right? F-R-U-M, F-O-R-R-U-M, sorry. Or Facebook group, FB groups, G-R-O-U-P. Or in this particular case, Reddit, R-E-D-D-I-T. Okay? Reddit is an underrated place to find leads for your business. I'm going to stress that. Reddit is an underrated place for you to find leads for your business. Okay, so I started messaging people on Reddit. The question is, what do? You have to go into the forums where people are talking about your issues. And I was actually on Reddit the other day, and somebody posted this, and I was like, man, this is a brilliant thing, and I pulled it out instantly. Check this out. Let me just show you this. I messaged a guy. I'm trying to get a referral system. Stop manually searching and start organizing your outreach. This is by far one of the best tools that I've seen so far. Like, by far. Because if you're a small business, it's really, really good. So check this out. I'm going to copy this link. No, I'm going to copy the website link. Let me just do this live. Copy this. I'm going to go to his stuff. He has a free thing. I'm going to paste my link inside of there. I'm going to do try free analysis. And the crazy thing is, it's going to read my website. It's going to try to analyze it. It's going to try to figure out, it's going to try to figure out what product is it I'm selling. And then it's going to go on Reddit and automate the process of finding people that are asking questions about that specific topic or issue. Okay? So, in other words, what you want to be doing, where's my, oops. I should have opened up another, let me pull this out and open it to another window. So I could jump over to here. Yeah, in other words, what you want to be doing is you want to be talking to as many people as possible so you could find people that are, basically people that are raising your hand, asking for the problem. Okay. People that are, let me see if I can draw a hand here. I think I'm going right. Right? Is that right? Is that 5 fingers? Whatever. You guys get the idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, right. We got a mutant. Whatever. Okay? We want to find people that are raising their hand and say, hey, I got this problem. Does anybody know a tool or a thing that could solve this problem for me? And you're going to do that and then try to message those people, okay? In our particular case, we're just going to DM them. DM, okay? And you have to kind of think about this. So it's not everybody that you DM is going to respond to you, okay? So let me just show you. Okay, still scanning Reddit here, so we'll see. We'll see what it comes back with. But you're going to DM them, okay? And you have to be thinking about this from a marketing standpoint, okay? First of all, you need an offer, okay? Because you can't just DM people and be like, hey, can you just use my app? They'll be like, yeah, I don't know who the hell you are, like, go away, right? So you need an offer, F-E-R, okay? And if you don't know anything about offer, we could talk a whole video about this because it's a whole topic by itself. But basically what you need to do is you need to basically say, basically you could let's simplify it. Let's say you how do we do it in a way that makes sense? If you have H-A-V-E have problem, P-R-O-B-L-E-M, okay? So if you have problem, question mark, right? And I'm just gonna say, just simplify it. I'm doing like caveman language here. I have I have tool to solve problem. PROBLEM, right? That's basically what I'm saying. I'm like, hey, if you have this problem, I have tool to solve this problem. Are you interested? That's what I'm trying to do. INTERESTED question mark. Okay. If you have problem, question mark, I have tool to solve problem. Are you interested? And basically what I'm basically saying is I'm just trying to get people that are raising their hand. That's it, right? I'm not trying to sell you any single thing. I'm just trying to see if you would be willing to try my tool, okay? And people underestimate the effort that's required to do this. But if you do it right, you could think, no, this thing is taking a little bit more time. So we're going to keep going for now. And then hopefully we'll come back. We'll see some results, okay? But let's give some rough math numbers just so that everybody doesn't get an illusion about the amount of effort that's required. It would be something like for every 100 message, you might get one reply. Maybe a little bit less. You might get like let's call it 10 replies. 10 reply, maybe, okay? And then you might get one person, or let's call it 2, just for the sake of this number, 2 interested. This is not 100% mathematical science, okay? It's just a rough kind of thing, okay? But it's just to give us some framework to how to be thinking about a problem. For every 100 person that I message, I might get 2 people that respond and says I'm interested, okay? So I have to be thinking about it this way. So there's no point in me, like, again, and what am I trying to do here? I'm trying to figure out what is the offer, what is the thing that somebody's interested in. If I say this, then I will help you. So let me just break this problem down a little bit more. If you have problem, think, okay? So I'm going to use my app an example. So let's just go to what is my app do. So my app helps you to track your money, see where your money goes, and track expenses. Right? It's a budgeting app. That's what it does. So I'm going to do it this way, okay? And then we're going to use ChatGPT, because why not? Come on. And we're going to say turn this into a DM offer, okay? So can you read this web page and then based on the information that's on there, turn this into a DM offer that I could send to somebody directly on Reddit or Facebook group, but give it in sort of an Alex Hormozy style. So we're going to use that as our baseline. Okay. And then I'm going to paste the web page content. All right. So at least it has the details here. Okay. So what am I doing? We're saying Alex Hormozy because Alex Hormozy, if you don't know who Alex Hormozy is, by far one of the best persons that you should be following that teaches all of this stuff here. A lot of the things that I'm really doing, honestly, is regurgitated from some of his things. I've just added the developer part of it. But he has 3 books, 100 million offers, $100 million money models, $100 million leads. Really, really good book to go watch. Anyway, so, hey, quick one for you. If you're trying to see, okay, so now this is really, really long and stupid. So it's like, this is way too long for a DM. You need to make it shorter and simple. Simpler, okay? So he's giving me an option. So, hey, if you're trying to stop wondering about your so let's talk about it. This is the problem and the solution. Okay, so we're talking about this. So it's like, hey, if you're trying to stop wondering where your money went, try Affordly. It takes 2 to 3 taps to log expenses and show debt-free timeline. Okay, now here's the problem with this here. It's trying to sell right away, so you don't want to do that. Okay, we're going to evaluate a quick one. One simple way to think. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to change it up a little bit to make it more human because we're going to change it up to make it a little more human because it feels very AI automated and non-personal. So we want to say something like, hey, I noticed that you had this problem on one of your posts, and I'm wondering if you might be interested in a tool that I built to help you solve XYZ. Give me some variations. Okay, so again, if you notice how I'm framing the problem, I'm really trying to highlight the problem that they have because I need to solve a problem for them. Okay, nobody's gonna buy my tool if I'm just basically trying to just sell some random thing. I need to be solving a very specific problem for somebody. And again, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get that person to raise their hand. Okay, it's like, hey, do you have this problem? Yes or no? How do I know you have the problem? Because you raised your hand. Okay, let's go back here and see if so found 18 leads. Okay, sorry, tool came back, 18 people. So let's go find them. This is a fantastic tool to help you. So let's go find those leads. Struggling with mental side of consistency, any app recommendation. Okay, so we're gonna view this on Reddit. So this is a Reddit post, okay? 7 hours ago. It says, hi everyone, I'm hitting a wall with my fitness and consistency. I think the tools in my problem. Okay, so this guy is talking about fitness. That's interesting. I'll start strong and weak. No, okay. This guy's talking about fitness. That's not the right thing. This is a mistake. Interesting. Okay, these might not be good examples, but we're gonna still use it anyway. Okay, hey, oh yeah, okay, actually this is good. This is good. So 9 hours ago, this guy messaged, he said, I've stripped my budget down to the essentials and it barely works. Okay, sounds familiar, guys? Take home is $2,400 a month, rent is $1,100, utilities is $200, groceries, blah, blah, blah. Right? That doesn't have much leave for emergencies, clothing for people in similar situations. Where did you find room to improve without burnout? Okay, perfect candidate for my app. Okay, perfect candidate. Why? Because my app just so happens to solve what? Let me just go back to the website here. Okay, track your money, get out of debt. Finally see where your money goes. Track expenses, manage debt, and build a clear plan to become debt-free without spending hours on data entry. You see where I'm going with this, guys? Okay, so I'm focused on solving a problem, right? 100%, that's what I'm focused on. So now with this, I can give ChatGPT a little bit more clear plan. So we're gonna say, hey, we're going to take this one. We're going to go in here. This is one of the posts that somebody posts. Give me something specific to this that I could DM him with. Okay, so now I have a real post that somebody was complaining about, that's asking a question and things. So this is how I'm responding to it. Hey, saw your post that choosing what to ignore this month line is real. Okay, saw your post that choosing what to ignore this month line is real. I built a simple app called Affordly that helps you see exactly where your leftover money is leaking, even small stuff, and it can map debt, expenses, payoff timelines so you're not guessing. If you want, I could send you a link. It's a free to start, no credit card. Okay, that's one option. So. Hey, your budget breakdown is super clear, and yeah, that margin is tight. Okay, I made a tool, Affordly, for situations like this. Log expenses fast, set your bills at once, and it shows exactly what you're left off. Want a link? Free to start, right? Okay, here, another one here. I saw your post about 24 take home plus essentials, still not leaving room. I built Affordly to make it easy to track random extras and spot the category to trim without burning out. Want a link, right? See where I'm going with this? So what I'm basically doing is I'm hyper specific, sending a message to a specific problem, okay? And the goal is very simple. Let's do the math. So we're going to do it in ChatGPT because it's faster. Okay. If I send this message to roughly about 5 to 10 people per day, and assuming that I get to 100 in a week and 2 to 3% response rate, how many people will I have within 3 months window? And then from there, I want to know if every person sends it to 2 people, like shares it with 2 other people, how many will I have in another 2 months after? Okay, give me a simple breakdown so I could follow. All right. Okay, so now this is where the math really thinks. So how do you make money from the app? How do you make money from the app if the app is free? Great question. Okay, very good question, sir. Thinking about it. So, very, very good question. Okay, in my particular case, I'm going to give you my business model. 100% free. This is no gatekeeping here or any single thing. I'm glad that you asked that question. I'm literally selling you an app for free. 100% free, right? There's no catch, there's no nothing. Now, I have 2 ways of making money. Number one is I can do an upsell, okay? So I can give away the app for free, and then I can basically charge you some extra cash for more features. That's one way to make money, okay? Now, the truth is you're not going to get a lot of people that's going to do that, so you're not going to make a lot of money there. In my particular case, though, there's an entirely, completely different business model that could be had from giving away for free. And here's the answer that I'll give you for this particular thing. If the product is free, then you are the product. Okay? That sounds a little bit weird. I'm going to explain it in a bit, but I want to repeat it just to make sure everybody's on the same page. If the product is free, you are the product. All right? And that goes for every single thing that is like real business. All right, now let's break down what the hell I mean by that because it's confusing. It's a very good question that you asked me. I'm glad that you did. So let's take Facebook for example. Okay, we're going to use Facebook, the most corrupt company. Anyway, I'll keep my views to myself. Okay, so this is Facebook. Okay, you are using Facebook. It's 100% free. Okay, what is Facebook's job? Facebook's job is to keep you on their platform scrolling. Everybody's been here before, doom scrolling, or TikTok or whichever thing, right? So 100% of the app is for free for you, but there's a wall here. On the other side of that wall, okay, that you can't see, there's a business. Obviously Facebook, but there's other businesses, okay? And what are the businesses trying to do? They're trying to sell something, right? They're trying to sell something. So they might have, let's call it maybe a car, okay? I'm going to draw a stupid car here, right? A fancy car, let's call it. What a stupid car. Fancy car, okay? They're trying to sell a car. So what are they going to do? They're going to pay Facebook. This is FB, right? They're going to say, hey, Facebook, I'm going to basically give you some money so that you could help me reach my audience. And Facebook does a whole bunch of stuff on the back end to basically do that. So Facebook is happy, more than happy to give you the app for free because they make money on the back end. Okay. In the exact same way with my app, I have a couple of options. Now, I'm not telling you I'm going to do this. I'm just telling you what are the options. Okay. Because I want you to be thinking about this in this way. I'm going to be giving away this app for free. Now, I plan to give away this app for 100% free for anybody that's making less than $120,000 a year. Because I personally believe that if you're making less than $100,000 a year, you need to get to $120,000 a year. So I'm like, I want to help every person in the world at least get to that baseline. Okay. After that, I might charge you for additional features, more advanced features. Now, if you want to pay for it at a smaller rate, that's totally fine. Like if you make, let's say you make $50,000 a year and you want to pay for those advanced features, totally fine. You can do that. Okay. However, if you're trying to get out of debt, so let's use a real example because we just saw a guy literally on Reddit. Let me zoom in here so everybody can see it properly. Okay. So we just saw a guy on Reddit that says, hey, I got a problem. Like, I don't know where my budgeting is a thing. So I can sell him, maybe this guy has some debt, right? So I could go to a credit card company or a debt collection company and say, hey, I have a bunch of people that are in debt right now that want to do debt consolidation, or they want to like reduce the interest rates on their debt, etc., etc. Um, and I could, and if you give me, if I, and I'd be willing to sell that list to you. I'm not going to sell the names, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell you access to the list. In other words, I'm going to advertise. So somewhere in my app, I could have a list of referrals. Let's call them referrals for this conversation, right? That if this person is interested, they could click on that link and they could basically get referred to, I don't know, MasterCard or Visa or whatever one of these companies. And they could basically sign up to do debt consolidation or something of the sort. And I will get a kickback on the back end. So that's the answer to your question. Hopefully that answers your question. User 953, blah, 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 right? Hopefully that thing. Add mob on the app. Yeah, so I'm not necessarily a big fan of putting ads on app. Okay, because I want a clean UI experience. That's what most people will do to try to make money off of the ads, right? AdMob was one of the earlier platforms. It won't be. The problem with the AdMob revenue, they got bought out by Google. I remember I used to work for a company that was competing with AdMob way back in the day when it first came out. The reason why I don't like this model is because the app gets junky very fast. And what ended up happening is, you've seen that we've all used those games. You download the games and you play the game, and then you got to click on the X button, or you got to find the X button, and they try to move it around or do all kinds of stupid things so you can just click on the ad, right? They try to make the app junky. So I personally have decided I'm never going to do that, period. Okay? I'm never going to put ads in the app. What I'm going to do is I'm going to build a real business model around it. That you could get the value, you could get the benefit, but I can still make money from your sort of like giving you referrals or data or any of that type of stuff, right? And this way, I still become a trusted source because I'm going to vet these people. I'm not going to just send you to any random person because I have a vested interest in helping you get out of debt. This is my personal goal. This is the reason why I'm doing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have proper relationships with these backend vendors, right? If assuming I could get my app to scale, right? More people use it. Why are more people going to use it? Because the app is just good, right? And you're going to get some referral fees from, you're going to get some word of mouth from it. So we're going to go back to this number here. Let's just go back to the number. So like I said, let's just go to the, let's go to, where's my numbers here? Yeah. So I'm trying to sell this app to 100 people, and I'm expecting about 2 to 3 people that's going to respond. Okay, so 2 to 3 people responding to my app. Where is it? Oops. No, ChatGPT. Come on. Too many things open. Hang on a second. Where the hell is it? ChatGPT. There we go. I should pull this window out. Let me just do this. Okay, so let's do the math. Okay, so I'm going to send 100 DMs per week. So 100 DMs, that's 25 messages per day. Okay. Or if you want to break it down even further than that, in the 7-day period, right? Math is offered 14 messages per day. Call it 15 messages per day, keeps it simple, right? 15 people you're going to message per day, every day. In 13 weeks, that's going to turn out to 1,300 DMs. Okay, like I said, 2 to 3 respond message. So for every 100 people that I message, only 2 or 3 people are going to respond to me. So that's 26 people. 3% is 39. Okay, so I'm expecting between 26 and 39 people that's going to respond and sign up for my apps over the course of 3 months. That's the mindset that I need to have. Okay, there's a 1. Okay, so then if each responder shares it with 2 people, now I'm at, on the low end, 52. On the high end, I'm 78. Okay, and if those 2 people share the response 2 to 3 rate, if those shared to people responded at 2 to 3 percentage, let me just make sure. If those shared to people respond at, oh right, yes, okay. So of the 78 people, they're saying that roughly 1 or 2 people are going to think. So this might be a low number, right? For every 78 people that I think 2 people responded. Additionally, over the next 2 months, 1 to 2 people, I would have total response of sharing. I would have between 20 Let me just make sure I get that 24. Okay, right. 2 plus 3 months. So basically, they're saying about I'd have an average about. Make sure total responded to the. Okay, yes. Okay, here summary. Right. So 2 to 3 shares. So how many people would have to while you're selling? So how many people in total would I have after, let's say, 6 months? So let's go with this. So right now we're just doing manual grunt work here. Okay, ads will always speed this process up. I'm just showing you guys how to basically think about this from a basic app perspective, right? Like if I have no money, what are the things that I have to do consistently in order to get it to a point where I can start making money? Okay, so but it's a good question though. Running ads will always speed this up, and we're going to talk about other means in a bit. But I want to just be hyper focused on this here, so at least everybody's clear about what the mission, what the goal is. Okay, so you're outbound over 6 months, 2,600 DMs, same math. Okay, so for every thing, okay, so on high end 156 or 5. So in 6 months, I would have about 50 to 83 total responders using my app roughly, right? Let's call it just subpar of 100 plus or minus, right? I'm sure I could get a little bit more than that, but let's make it an even number of like 80 to 100 people using my app in 6 months period. Okay, if you can do that, excuse me, if you can do that, then you have at least something. Okay, now let's go with that 80 to 100, and let's go with an estimate of about 30% people I could upsell to like a $7 a month or a $5 a month plan. What would that look like from a revenue standpoint on an MMR basis and a yearly basis? Okay, so now with that sort of baseline, what we're doing is basically making some assumptions that of this, let's call it 80 people, we're going to try and see if we could convert a few of them to paying customers. That's what we're trying to do. Okay, so on the low end, $5 a month, it's about $81 in MRR, and on the high end, it's about $124 in monthly recurring revenue. If it's a $7 plan, it's a little bit higher. So 130. So this is very low numbers. Just want to be clear. We're not rich here. Okay, we're not trying to get rich here. What we're trying to do is prove a market. Because if you can prove the market, you can scale it up. Because the numbers will just multiply over time. Within this conversation, the numbers will multiply. Okay, so revenue in a yearly basis, on the low end, you'll make about $1,500 a month, enough to pay your insurance bill, right? If you're living in a cheap state, right? So that's fine. At $7 a month, you'll get about $2,000 a year. However, going with my budgeting app, what if I were to put all of that money into TikTok advertising? Give me sort of the breakdown of what kind of returns you think I would get based on roughly the same math, using that number and using some numbers that you have on the internet about TikTok conversion rate, etc. Okay, so you run ads and get organic. Yes. Okay, so I'm getting to you, Vaughn, on the running ads part, right? So with that, we're gonna do some rough CPM side of numbers on a $5 to $7 plan, rough kind of deal. So basically, what I want to try to do now is take that as a foundation and see if we could kind of scale it up a little bit. Okay. So the good news is we got AI to do this work, so I don't have to do it as much. What I care about here is having a conversation with you guys, so that you understand the thought process on how to get to thinking about how to scale your app. Okay. So, okay, while this is going, so let's just go back to this. Where is it? Message here. No, is it this one? Yeah, here. Right. So this app is giving me, how much is it? And I'm gonna get you guys the link for it. It's called Subsonar if you're interested in it. But I'm working on getting a discount code for this app here because the guy has done a pretty good job with it, and I want to promote his app a little bit. But this guy here, so he's found how many is 18 leads. Okay, 18 leads. So 18 leads is more than my daily quota, right, of what I have to send out to get to about 100 users in the 6 months time. Okay. And again, how long is it going to take to me to send out 18 leads in a day? 18 messages. If I'm fast, maybe half an hour. If I'm slow, maybe an hour, right? Somewhere around there. Let's call it 40 minutes or something like that. So me to sit down every single day, spend 40 minutes just basically promoting my app, right? I'm still doing my day job, still doing whatever I'm doing to make money. All I'm doing is just basically consistently every single day sending out something. Now, I could further improve that that ratio. So let's go back to where are we now? Where are we? Here. Okay. So that's just all we did was just highlighted one channel. Okay. We just highlighted one channel. So now what we want to do is we want to multiply those channels. And this is where the ad conversation right kind of comes in. Juan mentioned it, right? We have ads. If we got a little bit of budget, we could do some ads, right? We could do some posts. We could post on TikTok, right? Talk about it every day, right? If you're consistent. I'm not, but if you are, that could be a thing. We could do YouTube, right? And we're not, right? And these will convert in their own way. But the point is, what we're doing is really multiplying the effort, right? So if we did one YouTube or two YouTube videos a week, right? One post every day talking about the app, or let's say 3 posts a week, right? I'm not a big component of like posting every single day, but maybe I should try doing that to grow faster, right? And I do some Facebook ads. That's what we're going to kind of talk about, just to kind of do the maths, because I want to basically show you how you get to actual scale, right? So, all right. And again, this is consumer. We're not on business apps here. We're just on the consumer side of things, okay? And if you guys wanted me to do the business side of it, let me know if you want to do like business apps, because we could talk about that as well too. I just want to, right now I'm just kind of on the consumer side. Okay, so TikTok, cost per install, okay, $1.75 to $4 per install. Okay, this is how they think based on their industry data. Extra cost. So what does it talk about? So basically my monthly budget would be about $80 to $100 per month. Okay, so I don't know, gas money, or I don't know, one, you know, my car takes about $70, $80 worth of gas to fill up or something like that. So maybe one fill up of gas or something, and I'm translating it to. So $80 per month would get me about 20 to 60 installs. Or sorry, 20 to 40 installs roughly. Okay, that's what they're claiming based on their formula, based on their industry average. Okay, turning installs into paying customers. So same percentage, 1% will pay. Okay, from that 31, so paid monthly. So 174 will get 1 paid. All right, so be a baseline of 3% install. Okay, optimistic, 5% install. So we're gonna go with 3%. Right, 1% might be too low, 3% right thing. So we're spending. Okay, so here's what we got. So baseline 3% install paid. Okay, so $5. This is so we're gonna get about $3 to $7 MRR. So 36 to 80 installs per year, $7 plan. So let's see. So the big reality check here is the key. With a low price subscription, paid ads often don't pay back quickly. Okay, because cost per paid user. Let me just see. So 3% paid, blah, 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 blah kind of deal. So 92%, $92 to acquire 1 paying customer. Right. So this is the math where you're not necessarily making money because you're throwing it back in ads. And this is why, you know, when you have something that is not, how would I describe it? When you have an app that's not proven that it has the traction as yet, because you're still testing, you want to do the manual process. Okay, you want to do that manual process because it at least gets you going. You could figure out a thing, right? And what, again, just for the new people that are joining, because I noticed there's a few more people in here. The manual process is you find those people on Reddit, like this guy. See here, I've stripped my budget, blah, 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 and you message him directly. Or you put a comment here about how you're solving the problem, not promoting your app, and then you DM them directly. Right? And you just keep doing that over and over and over and over again. Okay? Until you start to get a little bit of traction. Okay? You guys are following with me? Anybody got any questions about this? So we got 7 people inside of here. 6. And if you, oh my goodness, we got about 1,500 taps. Can you tap on the screen? Do me a favor, you should just join. Tap on the screen. Let me know that you're getting some value about this. Send the information to the TikTok gods so that they could, help me out. And if you're new, join my community, please. So we have a live vibe coding community. Let me go to it quickly here. Here we got a live vibe coding community. I gotta join my community here. I just dropped the link in the chat. Join the community. I got 3 members that just basically try to think here. I got 86 people in the group right now. It's a free community. I have videos about Cloudflare. I have videos about how to, basically vibe coding, how to scale your app. If you're brand new to this and you're not a developer, okay, because it's not just for developers. We're not just talking to developers here. It's for builders. If you want to vibe code something, you've never vibe coded an app before, and you want to learn how to vibe code, that's what this is for, okay? And we basically just I teach you all the stuff, every single thing that I know, all the years of experience. I just teach it, okay? And for other people that want to work with me a little bit more, then we could talk about that. But the point is, you join the community, you can book a call with me, talk about your app, talk about what you're doing, and then I'll try to teach you and show you how you can actually build it and make real money from this, right? We're not here just trying to vibe code apps for the sake of vibe coding, right? Nobody wants to do that. We want to make money. We want to basically, change our lives. That's basically our goal, and that's our mission. Oh, speaking of change your lives, you know what I'm supposed to be on? I'm supposed to be on a Tony Robinson conference today. Oh, jeez. I totally forgot. I was supposed to be recording it on my other YouTube, on my other thing. By the way, you guys, like, Tony Robinson is like just amazing. Like, I'm pulling him up for a second. I'm going to give this guy a plug because it's more like he needs to give me a plug, but where is it? Where is it? Yeah, if you don't know Tony Robinson, you should check out his stuff. This guy, you know what? I kind of dismissed him for a while, and then I saw an ad for. Oh, come on, man, what's going on here? Completely unrelated, but still related. Okay, it's about business and money. So I was supposed to be watching this live right now. I'm on live TikTok with you guys. However, this is by far one of the best thing that you can talk about. Yeah. Why am I showing you this? Is because this guy basically was a sort of a public speaker, if you will. He was a motivational speaker, got his start in the early days. Now he runs like, I think he said like, I don't know, 100 plus businesses, making over like $12 billion a year, like some real numbers. And so he focuses on, there's an intersection between having the right mindset for business and having sort of like the right sort of like framework for running businesses. And as I sort of evolve in my own business journey, I've come to realization that being in business means that you not only need to have like the right mindset, but you need to sort of like, you need to learn how to think about multiple parts at the same time, and then you need to be able to execute. And most people, they can think about the problems, but they don't know how to execute on it, and they don't know how to sort of keep themselves accountable. Anyway, the point is that he really talks about that. So I'm gonna give him the plug because I was literally supposed to be watching this. I'm hanging out with you guys here, so yeah, you're welcome. Anyway, I'll leave that in the background going. So right. So let me just back up here for a bit. I hope everybody's like understanding what I'm talking about here and getting the value and understanding like how you need to be thinking about building your app, right? Because anybody can build an app, right? Like I said, no, my whole community is about teaching you how to build apps, etc. But it's not just about that. It's about how to scale the app up, how to basically find your first set of customers, etc. If you want to know about the business side of things, this is the consumer side of things. If you want to know about more corporate, okay. First of all, let me just ask a question just to kind of get some interaction from my people. How many of you in here are thinking about building an app or have an app that you want to basically promote? Just put a 1 if you have an app, and put a 0 if you don't have an app. Just so at least I know. Just a quick poll. So 1 have an app. I saw AKRA. I don't know how to pronounce that. Okay, anybody else? If you have an app and you want to promote it, one, why? Okay, Vaughn, yes, okay. Anybody else have an app? Or zero if you don't have an app, but you're just thinking about it, kind of deal. Okay, so we got 3 people here. So I'm going to say 50% of my audience, my very limited audience here, have an app that you want to promote. So that's great. So fantastic. So join the community for sure. And I'm going to try to teach you sort of like the nuance of how to actually think about building and promoting your app altogether. So that's number 1. And then number 2 is I'm going to try to shift you from sort of like developer mindset to product mindset. So let me give you a little bit of story because I like stories, okay? I like telling people stories so people understand who I am as an individual and why I actually, like I'm doing this, okay? So first of all, I've been around for, I mentioned this before, 20 years, okay? And for the people that are new, I'm just repeating myself a little bit here. But this is my startup. It's a software for contractors. It's a pretty complex software. It's as a matter of fact, I'm gonna log into it just to kind of give you an idea of how complex it is. Let me log out to this. This is a real customer details here. So log into a demo account. Okay, so this is my app. This is a real app. This is not a play app. This is like a real customer app that I have that has a whole bunch of work. Or it's a project management tool for businesses. Okay, so like I said, I don't normally do B2C, business to consumer. I normally do B2B apps. Okay, because you make a lot more money. All right. Just to give you some idea in terms of pricing, we charge around $350 on the low end for a low customer. This is really an entry level price. Normally your customers are around sitting here or around the $950 per month price. Okay, so that's what we do. It has a whole bunch of complexities around it. There's a whole it has Cloudflare, it has Azure, it has Azure container apps for containers to spin up containers. It generates PDF. It literally opens up Microsoft Word and inject data inside of it, close Microsoft Word, convert it to a PDF, and then serve it up to you. This is what it does here. And the reason why we did all that complexity was because a lot of our customers just needed all that complexity. So I'm showing you this just to show you that I know what I'm talking about, okay? When I say I know how to build apps, okay? Like really complex app. I have about 13 developers that worked with this over the years. More developers work with it over the years, but we had about 13 developers. And what's crazy is in the last year or so, we basically fired almost all of people. Okay. And I started vibe coding every single thing. So I've been vibe coding brand new features into this app. This calendar here, 100% vibe coded of recent. This job board, this technical, where is it here? This job board, 100% vibe coded. Okay. So I just been doing a lot of stuff, trying to change the game a little bit. And we have a mobile app, which I won't really talk about in this particular case. I'm not trying to sell you guys this, just to be clear. I'm just giving you some background context of who I am, so you understand that I'm like I know what I'm talking about here. Okay, so with that in mind, let's just go back to our thing. So the problem with B2C apps is that they don't you have to spend an enormous amount of money to kind of push them out to consumers, right? If you notice, I've spent quite a bit of money here, and I'm only at, where am I? $2,000 per year, right? So you have to spend an enormous amount of upfront money to get a B2C app to the consumer, to the public. Okay, that's the problem. So your only bet in my particular case here, I'm building my app and it's not for money. And funny backstory here. The only reason I built this app is because my wife and I, we've been using an Excel spreadsheet for like 7 years. And the truth is, every year we start the Excel spreadsheet, and every year we end the year and we're like, this is not accurate, because nobody actually goes in to update the Excel. We tried. We were like, oh, every 7 months we're going to do it. Nobody does it. So I was like, you know what? I want to build an app. I just wanted all my transaction. I got my credit card transaction statement. I was like, I just wanted to just automatically just suck it into the app, free of cost or whatever. So that's basically what I built. I was like, I'm just going to just solve this problem, and I'm teaching people how to use it and build it. So, okay, moving on. So let's talk about the B2B side. So let's talk about that. So I'm going to show you now on a B2B app, right? And everybody know what I mean by B2B, right? Business to business. All right. So we're gonna do the same math on a B2B. Okay. So we're gonna take this exact same math. Nothing changed in terms of the numbers, the conversion, every single thing here. We're gonna do a B2B version of this. So I'm gonna say we're gonna try to do a B2B version of a different application. Focus on helping business owners, let's say, get leads for their business, and we're gonna sell it at let's say let's say we're gonna do a setup fee of like 3,500 and a monthly retainer of 350 per month with a 1 year contract. Give me the exact same conversion rate, every single thing based on this. Okay. And what I'm looking for is basically to figure out how much of money I would make at a 6 months mark based on the number of customers, and a year mark, and then compare versus the B2C app. Okay, so what we're doing is basically I'm just trying to just give you guys a sort of a completely different sort of price point. Same effort. Okay, same effort. Nothing has changed. All we're doing is we're targeting a different audience, and we're basically focused on the B2B side of things. Okay, and we'll just show you how much more money you can potentially make just by servicing a business. Now, is there more work to do on the business side? Yes. Do you have more responsibility? Absolutely. Is there more people that you have to talk to and more support emails coming in? 100%. However, I'll show you just based on the math, the exact same effort if you're doing a B2B, like, would just completely change the game for you. So let's just look at the numbers very quickly here. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. So for the people that are new here, if you don't mind double tapping on the screen, that would be great. Give me a little bit of boost in my confidence, and then also the TikTok gods hopefully help me out. Where are you guys coming from, by the way? Who the people who are in here listening to me chat? I'm just curious where part of the world are you from? Okay, so while you're doing that, answer the question. Okay, so here's the question. Exact same DM. Okay, so let's recap for the new people. Make sure to think. All we're doing is sending DM direct messages to 100 people per week, roughly 15 people per day. That's it. Same effort. We're expecting about a 2 to 3 response rate, if possible. Okay. And these people might be on Facebook, they might be in Ting or whatever cases. So we get about 2 people respond, 2 people share, exact same thing. Now, the share part might be a little bit different, but let's just go with the numbers exactly the same, because I want to just give you guys an idea of the breakdown, okay? So exact same breakdown, 30%, blah, 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 kind of deal. Okay, so let's talk about the revenue now. So with a $2,000 setup fee plus a $350 per month, okay, in 6 months, okay, you're looking at about $5,000 to $8,000 in MRR, monthly recurring revenue. In 12 months, you're looking at about $11,000 to $17,000 in monthly recurring revenue. That's a full-time job, guys. Okay, you've just switched your day job to a full-time job. Okay, just by focusing on the right customers. That's the key word here that I want to make sure everybody understands. Okay, okay. So best case, in 12 months total, you're looking at about 34 to 49 signups. So 6,000. So you're looking at right. Revenue per customer. Revenue per customer by 6 months. Okay, so this is revenue per customer by 6 months. Total 6 months. So 16 to 24 customers times 4,000, 66,000. So look at the numbers. Unbelievably different. Okay, so there's a side-by-side comparison. Okay, so in 6 months with the B2C, I'm doing $81 to $174 per month. On the B2B side, I'm doing about $5,000 to $8,000 per month. Okay, significant difference. Right? On the B2B cash collected, here's what's crazy. Cash collected based on, depending on closing timing, $50,000 to $100,000. Okay. cash collected. Because remember, I'm charging an upfront $3,500 setup fee to get every single thing going. Okay. So, Cameroon. Okay. Welcome, Mr. Cameroon Vaughn. And then cash collected, right? Depending on timing, whatever. So yearly B2C is $2,000 to $4,000. B2B is $139 to $300,000. That's a significant difference, guys. And I'm like, okay, so maybe you'll be like, okay, I can't charge $350 per month on a product. Sure, let's do, instead of $350, let's just do like let's do $160 per month, and just give me just the 12-month numbers. Okay, just so we have something to kind of compare with, right? Let's do, instead of $350, let's do $160 per month. Yes, okay. So we're just basically dropping the number down by half just to kind of see. Obviously, the numbers would drop down, but I just want to make sure that we understand. So 12 months, okay? So just the 12 months number, okay? On the high end, you're looking at $17,000 per month. On the low end, you're looking at about $5,000 per month total cash. Okay, so where are we? 3,000. Average paid 3,000, right? So we're 121. Still, you're at 121 to 174,000 because you're collecting that $3,000 to $5,000, $3,500 setup fee. That's the key here. So it pays for you to understand distribution, right? And it also pays for you to understand the market that you're going after. Okay? I personally have no interest in selling to B2C because it's kind of a waste of time. I'm building this app here because I'm using it to teach people about this type of stuff, and I'm using it to learn about the B2C market. And I'm not trying to sell to the front end, I'm trying to sell to the back end. So even though, I just want to make this distinction here, even though I have a B2C business, I'm still on the back end selling to B2B businesses. Does that make sense? Right? So I'm, trying to sell to credit card companies, debt collector, right? Like companies on the back end side that'll give me sort of referral fees and all this type of stuff. So there's still ways to do it. Just want to be clear. So who are the customers on the back end? Right? The customers on the back end would be like, for example, there's tons of credit card companies that are looking for to teach you. Okay, let me you know what? ChatGPT can help you out with this faster. So on my Affordly app, if I want to have a free customer base and I want to basically sell on the back end to my existing user base, what are some of the business models that I could have? Just distill the list for me, like credit card companies, debt consolidation companies, all that kind of stuff. What are the thing, affiliates, that kind of stuff, right? Actually, and give me some revenue models that I can make on the back end. Okay, so so it's a good question, Vaughn, because it's a really good question. On the back end, you're selling to in my particular case, I'm giving you, I don't know your actual app. And matter of fact, if you tell me where your app, I could probably give you some ideas. But that's where we have ChatGPT, right? So on the back end side, you're selling to the credit card companies. You're selling, you see, personal loans, high yield savings account, right? That's a big one, right? Remember, all the people that I'm dealing with are literally trying to save money. So if I could give them in my app a recommendation, hey, if you use this bank, right, this bank will pay you, give you X% interest on your money, rather than having your money, let's say your money is getting like, I don't know, 0.01%. If you put it in this bank here, you just transfer it, you'll start getting 2-3% on your money. That alone, when they sign up for that account, I get a kickback, right? Or I have some deal with them where basically I could basically rank their product higher in my app. So in other words, my app becomes an embedded sort of like ads, but it's not like ad mob, which is how you describe it. It's basically ranking recommendations on the back end. All right. So that's basically what it is. Let me read your thing. So AI customer call and chat assistance for small. Oh, perfect. You're in the perfect niche. So this is 100% perfect niche. So who are you targeting? Because I get small businesses. Do you have a niche? Is it like dentists? Is it doctors? It is contractors? Do you have a niche? Did you pick a niche already? And you can give me a yes or no answer. I'm just curious if you thought about this from that perspective, right? And I'll answer why you need a niche, but I'm just curious where you are on your journey. Yes. Okay. Great. Who's the niche? So actually, let's talk about your specific case because your specific case is actually a really good case that we could use. All right. And while you're doing that, I'm gonna put on this. Let me just hear. Sorry, I was just trying to see what Mr. Robinson's there saying. So, okay, right. So here I have all of these business model restaurants and food delivery. Okay, okay. Let me think about this for a second. Restaurants and food delivery. So let me make sure I get. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. I want you to think about this very carefully, and you don't have to answer me, but feel free to answer. Okay. So it, there's a couple ways that you could think about this, and I'm going to give you the different frameworks, and then I'll kind of drill into yours because I'm kind of curious about it. So on your AI customer call, I'm going to go with that part of it. It could be that you are answering calls around orders, right? Somebody's trying to place orders, so you're going to take that call. So the first question is your AI good enough to handle that type of call? Right? Because some people have nuances in the way that they try to answer a call that they want, right? Like, hey, do you have any, non-dairy product in your, I don't know, your steak or something like that, like some craziness, right? So is your AI good enough to handle that use scenario? That's number one. Number two is, are you training the AI custom to each business? You probably are doing something with that with some kind of RAG model. Or are you trying to have the AI answer the general calls? So, for example, good morning. This is a B&B food restaurant. Like, how can I help you? And then only when you kind of get the basic details, you kind of send it off to a human being. Is it kind of like a handoff thing? Because there's two different scenarios, right? With the handoff, you could more generalize the problem, send it over to the customer. With the specifics, you would have to be able to train the AI on the menu specifically to be able to answer very specific questions about about what they're calling for. And then the third thing would be, how many people are calling in on a restaurant and ordering? Actually, you said you're in Cameroon, so maybe in your country, that's still a thing. I know in North America, nobody's calling a restaurant, right? They just go in Uber Eats, and they basically just press a button and get food, right? So those are the kind of the general things that I'm kind of thinking about in general. So not general call for now, just a RAG model customized based on the business. Okay, good. All right, I'm gonna kind of force you to think about things in a little bit differently. So just think about this, okay? One of the challenges that you'll run into with this particular idea is that you'll run into a sales problem where it's hard to convince the business owner to use your app because they're not necessarily seeing direct returns from it. Does that make sense? So, in other words, if calls are coming in and you're basically just, customizing it based on the business to answer general calls, then for the business owner, the first question that they'll have is, why am I buying your app? Like, what is the thing what is the value that you're giving to me that's going to make me more money? Okay, so this is always the framework that you have to be thinking about things in the B2B world. In the B2C world, you're solving a problem. Very straightforward. Okay, 90% of B2C apps is just they're solving a problem. Even when you're on Facebook or TikTok, right? What is it? You're solving the problem of being bored if you're on Facebook or TikTok, right? So in your B2B world, you're generally solving the problem of time. I'm going to save the business owner time, or I'm going to save them money, which normally people don't want to save money. They want to make more money. Okay. So those are the two things I want you to kind of be thinking about as a framework all the time. Good. So now that we have that as a framework, Now we need to think about like, is a restaurant really going to make more money from my AI app? That's the question that you need to be asking yourself. And if you're kind of questioning that, then the answer is it's not the right industry. Okay. So I would argue a better industry, and again, I'm just really giving you some framework and some ideas here. I would argue a better industry might be something like a dentist or um, yeah, a dentist would probably be a good one. Maybe even a let's go with dentist because dentist is actually like a very very distinct thing. Okay, okay. So I'll tell you why a dentist. So dentists are very specific, right? There's two types of reason that you go to the dentist. Okay, I'm in Canada here. I got dental insurance, so like I show up to the dentist. I don't know 4 or 5 times a year just because it's covered. Okay, what do? They do a bunch of cleaning on my teeth. Okay. However, most people that I know don't necessarily have that. So why they're going to the dentist? I got a toothache. I got a problem. I need to book an appointment. Okay. So I'm probably picking up the phone and calling the dentist so that I can book an appointment to come in. So that in that particular scenario, 101, the AI has to do less work because really and truly just looking at a calendar system, figuring out the available slot and then booking the person. And two, the dentist don't have to spend the time doing that booking. They could just basically focus on their calendar to basically process the work, right? So in other words, I'm reducing the amount of time spent on that particular task, right? The dentist. And two is I have an opportunity to make more money by having people with toothaches call and try to book appointments. Okay, so that's how I want you to be thinking about a problem always. You are saving a business time or you're saving them money. In the restaurant business, it gets a little bit gray, right? It's possible to save time by not having them answer the phone to basically prepare the food, but then you have customers that are calling in, and the problem with the customers is everybody knows you get that one picky customer that when they call in, they're looking for like, hey, can you give me like a ribeye steak with a side of like, I don't know, some kind of stew with some rice, but I don't want to have it any peas. And oh, can you make sure that it doesn't have any cilantro? Like whatever, right? Like it, like hyper specific. So your AI is just gonna kind of mess up with that. So I just want you to kind of think about it in that framework. So I would shift your target to a business where you kind of just very very focus on one little simple thing. And I would actually choose dentists because I actually feel like they're one of the better targets for this particular market, where they're just really, really focused on the appointments, right? You're either sending people reminders for appointments, calling them for reminders for appointments, because what's the problem with a dentist office, right? Somebody says they're going to come in for appointment tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and then tomorrow at 1 o'clock never comes because they just don't show up. And what does the dentist person have to do? Hey, you said you're going to come in here and we haven't seen you. It's 5 after 10. Like, don't want to know if you're going to be here. They're losing money. So it's very clear that having an AI do that outbound for them to constantly do that reminder would make more sense, right? But it's a very clear transaction. The business owner doesn't have to think about it. They're just like, yeah, if this guy could increase, because think about it this way. If let's say 30% of the people that book appointments for me on a monthly basis fall through the cracks. If you can just reduce that down to like 15% with your AI automation, I'm making more money. I'm more than happy to pay you whatever to get that 15% business. Okay, that's the framework that you got to be thinking about things. All right. Hopefully that helps you. But I appreciate you dropping sort of like what is it that you're doing in the chat, because this is how you have to be thinking about things, right? And once you could shift that model, now you have to think about, well, okay, if my business, if my business is, let's say I'm charging you $350, I'm going back to that example, per month for my AI, then you need to work out backwards how many calls can you possibly make, and then how many in terms of revenue that dentist would make. And then it's an easy math for them, right? Very easy. They're like, okay, if you do 20 calls for me, that would translate to, I don't know, $20,000 or $10,000, however much a dentist charge. Yeah, I'm happy to pay you $350. No problem, right? Like that's the framework that you gotta be thinking about things. So hopefully that kind of helps you. I appreciate you just mentioning that. I kind of got specific there, but I really want to, for the people that are on here, for you to understand why I'm trying to teach the things that I'm doing, because I understand this problem, because I had this problem for years, right? That's it. And then now there might be some opportunities where you might upsell that dentist, right? Like you might gather all the information and give them sort of like a report, right, and analysis on all the types of calls that are coming in, and then figure out from there. You could latch on a service on top of that. So a backend service for you might be, hey, every month for an additional fee. So here's what we're going to do for $350. We're going to give you 100 calls and 100 reminders and 100 follow-ups. Let's just see. That's the business. That's what you get for $350 a month after we train you and after we set you up. And you just pay this. You pay the $3,500 setup fee. You pay the $350 per month, and that's it. However, if you wanted to do more with us, we can basically do a monthly sit-down analysis where we can basically analyze that call with AI and figure out what are the people that are like, why the people are not showing up, what is the percent rate of our calls versus thing, and we can sit down and do a deep dive to figure out how to give you more incentives to get more people in the door. So in other words, we might do outbound calls for you, right? Like the point is that could be an add-on fee, right? Something that you do on a regular basis. So just something to kind of think about. All right. So where are we? Okay, we kind of jumped into the backend kind of stuff. We talked about sort of like how do you where are we? Here, right? So far, just a recap for anybody, because people that might just join. You basically, we sent 100 DM messages. We got about 10 or so people that kind of say okay, well, everything, and we got interested or responded, and then we got about 2 to 3 people that actually signed up for our app. That's the model that we went on, and we used that to get to a place where, with that, on a B2C model, right? If we did that for about 6 months time frame, we would get about I forgot what we did. Well, we'd get about right here are the numbers. So if we did that consistently, sending out 100 messages per week on the B2C model, we would be getting about $81 to $100 over the 6 months. Sorry. I'm totally messing this up. Depending on the closing time, side by side takeaways, 6 months. Let's go on the low end. So 50K cash collected on the low end for B2B, and then oh my goodness, I'm totally messing it. Let's just go with this number here. This will be easier. So $11,000 per month B2B, $162 per month B2C. If I were to sell an app at $7 per month or $5 per month versus $350 per month. So I always want to sell B2B. That's basically the bottom line, the takeaway here. You're free to do B2C, but don't be fooled by it that you're going to make money. Just want to be clear with this, okay? There's the same effort that you put into B2C is the same effort you got to put into B2B with a little bit more, with a little sprinkle on top. And you can get significantly more outcome, better outcome. So with that, the question now becomes, if I were to add 2 other channels, so posting on TikTok and posting on YouTube, and do the conversion slightly less, and just give me the yearly total on the B2B and the B2C. All right, I got something in my throat. So what I'm basically doing now is just basically showing, if we were to broaden our market by basically posting and doing all the social media stuff to kind of get our audience, what would that look like? Would we be able to make more money, etc.? Right? Marketing has to be part of the strategy. So I want to be clear with this. You can't build unless marketing is part of the strategy, right? You just got to pay. You just have to do it. It's the only way to kind of basically scale. Now, if you were to pick up the phone, which is the other part of this, so the direct messages could come in multiple different forms, okay? DM, okay, could come in the form of like sending people text messages, or picking up the phone and trying to call some people, which is technically a form of DM. It's not really 100% the same, right? Different markets, different strides, okay? One of the problems that we have with our business, going back to my business for a second, is the fact that SnapSuite, when we call people, the market is so saturated that honestly, when we call people here, they're just so sick of hearing these calls for selling software. They're so sick of it because they get like 100 of these calls per day. So now you have to start thinking about other markets, right? Actually, one of the things I'm actually looking into do this year is we're trying to go into the Caribbean market. I'm from the Caribbean. I grew up there, and it turns out that there's quite a few businesses there, and they don't really have software, and they don't have software that's tailored to their business in that market. So I'm like, you know what? Nobody from North America is going there, so why aren't we? So yeah, so hopefully it's given you something. Okay, so here's the yearly subscription breakdown. So where are we? So same customer dominates C50. Where we did the right? Okay, yeah. YouTube, TikTok. So effectively, it's doing 3 channels, 300 touch points per week. Same 100 per week, right? So you're multiplying the exact same effort. So paid conversion drops from 20 to 30 to 35%. So in a year, 52 weeks. So we're doing the full maths for the year now. So 25% paid, right? So 60 to 120 members, right? You're looking about 9,000 to 16,000 MRR on a B2B. Okay. On a B2C, same scenario. Let's go with even ramp up. You're looking about $4,000 per MRR. Okay. So it's a significant difference in terms of what you'd be doing with a B2B versus B2C. So we don't have to highlight this point anymore, but it's just one of those things. Okay, where are we? What else? Let's talk some technical, shall we? We spent a lot of time on the business side of things. So if you're not in Cloudflare, I strongly suggest that you go watch my video. In fact, you know what? I'll drop it in the chat for anybody. If you're not on my YouTube, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube, by the way. I'll drop it in the chat for you guys. This video here talks a lot about sort of like the Cloudflare story. Okay, why Cloudflare? What is it about? So this video here is by far the best video that I have, or at least I think that it is. That basically talks about Cloudflare thing. B2B usually needs more resources to manage. How do you manage it? This is a fair question. The answer is you do it, you manage it by basically just dealing with the problems as they come. So I've been a victim, let me just say. I'm using that word kind of loosely. I've been a victim of trying to make things complex with my business. What do I mean by that? I got a lot of support emails from customers, and the last 5 years, I spent way too much time trying to build out all kinds of tools to like, oh, we got to solve this problem. We got to over optimizing for the business. Here's the truth. If you have a business and a product, if the product is good, you won't have to do as many support. So you have to get a product right. That's the truth. You have to get if the product is terrible, you're going to get tons and tons of support problems. And I'm guilty of this. We've lost a lot of customers because of our product being crappy. I'm telling you the honest truth, before AI, we were really, really struggling. And the truth is, I didn't know if I would be able to kind of scale this business up to the next level because of the fact that AI was we just couldn't keep up. Okay. However, fast forward to today, AI is allowing us to scale up dramatically. But to your point, Vaughn, the issue is that you do have to have a product that is properly working. There's always going to be bugs, we know this, but it needs to do the thing that you say it's going to do. Else, people feel pissed off, annoyed, angry, frustrated, and they're just going to leave if they can, if your product is not sticky enough. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is do the thing that they need, whatever it is, whatever that support is, manually for as long as you possibly can. Don't do like me. I'm talking from experience here. Don't try to optimize, because developers tend to want to optimize things. It's just how we think about things. The minute we hear a problem, we want to optimize it. It's just how we think about stuff. So the problem with that is that when you try to optimize too early, you end up trying to focus on all this other stuff rather than just focusing on the problem, which is the tool that you're building for, and just basically dealing with a customer. In other words, if you have less than 10 customers, this shouldn't even be a conversation. Okay, you should just be manually dealing with every single customer problem. Do it for as long as it takes, as long as it's like, even if it doesn't scale, it doesn't matter. Just keep doing it, right? And in today's world, there's tons of tools that you could use. One of my best favorite tools, if you want to talk about support ticket, is where is it? I don't use them anymore because I built out my own tools for it, but I just want to share with it. The browser crashed. That's what happened. Sorry, my browser just crashed. They're called Team Desk. Cheap tool. Teamwork Desk. Yeah, here. By far one of my best tools. We've used them for years on end. They have a ticketing system. So the emails come in, you have a ticketing system, and it's pretty cheap. They're not American, so they don't sell out their customers. So you can start at $9 per month. Okay, super affordable, really good tool that solves 90% of any problems that you'll have with like managing customer communication and all that kind of stuff. And then you just deliver on the thing that you say you're going to do. It's very simple, right? Business people don't really ask for much. They're not complainer. As long as this thing is going to make them money, just that's it. Like, that's it. It's just right. However, as you start to scale, then you're going to need other tools. But until you get to your first 10 customers, this is not a problem for you to be thinking about. Don't get in the developer trap of wanting to over optimize. Oh, well, when they call, they're going to have this problem, so I need to do this when they call again, right? Don't do that. Just focus on the mission, which is getting the customers and serving them with the thing that you said your tool is going to do. Okay. Yeah, my browser crashed with everything. Sorry. Where are we? Cloudflare. So if you haven't already, go check out Cloudflare. Okay. Cloudflare is by far, I can't stress this enough. I'm going to stress it like 100 times. You're going to get sick of me hearing me saying this, okay? By far one of the best platforms. Is completely underrated, on the radar. And not only that, cheap. By cheap, I mean like dirt cheap. Okay? Just to give you an idea, where's their pricing? This is the only downside to the Cloudflare is that their website is terrible. Okay, but let me show you let me show you. Developer, worker plans. Okay, this is free. This is paid. $5 per month. All right. 10 million requests per month. I don't think you guys heard me. 10 million requests per month. Okay. For $5 per month. And I can't stress that. It gives you unlimited, it gives you up to 500 workers. Workers is, just think of it as a backend like Node.js. All right. It gives you observability. It gives you storage. It gives you like for $5 a month. Okay. My entire application runs on Cloudflare, 90% of it. Okay. Just so you guys know, I'm not BSing you on anything. Okay, I just posted this recently. Where is it? Okay, I just posted this recently. Oh, geez. Okay, no, I had some problems recently with my application that cost something. However, this is the line that let me see if I could zoom into it. This is the line that thing. Okay, my bill, we reduce our bill from $20,000 per month to $300 per month. $20,000 to $300 per month. That's what we did. Okay, all by switching from Azure to Cloudflare. That's how good Cloudflare is. It's stupidly cheap. Okay, so yeah, you gotta be on Cloudflare, and then like your backend infrastructure, because when you start to scale, you're gonna start to feel the squeeze. If you're on Torso, DV, like name it. So okay, so I don't want to belabor this point, but I just want to make sure that everybody understands that Cloudflare is where it's at, 100%. Okay, moving on to some other stuff here, and then we're going to try to wrap things up, because I'm going to break off just a little bit earlier today than my usual, because I have a couple other commitments that I have to do. I lost my my other streaming window. I don't even know if there was any other questions there. On YouTube, I lost my YouTube trend. So, where were we? Yeah, right. So 20K thing. So anyway, I post that just to let you guys know the thing. So a couple things. Cloudflare is now bringing out Cloudflare. This is a kind of an announcement that I'm making. Email. Cloudflare is now bringing out email support, which I'm pretty excited about, actually. In fact, it's sending email. They're building out the ability to send email through their system. I normally use Mailgun. This is my go-to. Mailgun is pretty good. They're rock solid. I've used them for years on end. Let me how do I get to their page without trying to sign in? Yeah, I normally use Mailgun, and they're pretty good on the email sending thing. Their pricing is solid. We don't send a lot of emails. Like right now, I think we're sending maybe about 15,000, 20,000 emails per month. My bill is about like $17 a month. It's about $1 per 1,000 email, basically. It's a little bit less than that, but it's just a rough math. Right, so those are the platforms that I'm using, and they're pretty rock solid, at least from that perspective. Anyway, Cloudflare is bringing out their own email routing system so that you could set up email DCAM, the whole 9 yards. I'm not certain why they're doing this, but I'm kind of curious about it. Now, would I trust my actual account with Cloudflare? No, because we're doing email sending at scale. I don't know if I would want to put all my eggs in the basket with Cloudflare when it comes to their email thing, but I'm definitely willing to try it out for sure. Kind of excited about it. Because right now, if you don't know, you could set Cloudflare, you could send emails in, right? You could take emails coming in, and then you could route it to say Gmail or whatever, but you had no way to send email out from Cloudflare. So that's what they're bringing with this service here. They're bringing out ways that you could send out emails. And yeah, we'll see what that looks like. Kind of curious about it, because I'm just kind of curious how they're going to deal with spam and all that type of stuff. Actually, you know what? Let me sign up for the waiting list right now. Yeah, we're going to sign up right this minute. Okay, we'll sign it after the call. Okay, so other than that, I'm not going to add too much value else other than this here. Like I said, this call here was what. So right now, where I'm at with this app here, we won't go into it this afternoon here, but I just got the app approved in Google App Store. I won't open it right now, just read the thing. But anyway, I just got it in beta testing in the App Store. That's number one. We're going to talk about that next week. And I just basically, I'm just kind of working through the authentication, which I won't do in this email conversation as well too, because I'm trying to close off a little early today. But those are the things that I'm going to kind of work on the next call. So next week, if you guys are interested, join. If you haven't already, and if I haven't said that already, please join the community. my vibe coding community. I'm going to drop the link in the chat again for those who are just new. Okay. And yeah, if you haven't already, join the community. I'm gonna ask questions inside there. I've been honestly a little bit slow with responding to people inside the community of lately, and that's because I've just been hyper focused on just building. I'm now coming out of build mode, so I'm trying to get back on track with my communication, etc. But in either case, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to take a little bit more, 45 minutes off today, just so I could kind of catch myself and do a few more things. But in either way, it's been waiting for approval. Yes, I just saw that. Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. I appreciate you joining the live. So it's been a pleasure. Thanks for thinging. I appreciate you. As soon as I get off this call, I'm going to approve those requests, and then I will see you guys in another video. I'm here every Friday from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. However, I'm going to, for TikTok specifically, I'm contemplating on doing more on a regular basis because TikTok seems to be bringing in me audience faster than YouTube. YouTube is where I post sort of like a long form content. And truth is, I haven't been posting in a while as yet because I've been so focused on code, right? One of the problems with running a startup is writing code, doing content, promote, right? All the type of stuff that you have to do. But what I'm really trying to focus on doing is helping people to kind of simplify that process, teach them sort of like the core, the basics, especially for my developer people. So I appreciate you, Mr. Vaughn. Have yourself a wonderful day. For all my people on YouTube, if you're still there, I appreciate you guys. And if you haven't already, like I said, join the school community. Link is in the bio on the YouTube side of things. And I'll see you guys there, and then we'll chat from there. All right. So with that, enjoy your weekend, please. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Doo, doo, doo.